Good morning, St. John's. Coming to you live from the TV4 studio. I'm Ben Rashid alongside Adam Kashk. Today is an early release Summit for Justice schedule, and these are your Friday morning announcements.
This week, TV4 played intros created by students working with the Summit for Justice. Today's intro was made by James Loomis. Thank you to everyone who spent time compiling and editing video to bring awareness to the issues addressed by this week's summit.
All Spanish Honor Society members who signed up for Labra should check for an important informational email from Senora Paula. Contact Senora Paula with any questions.
The SJJ Esports Valorant team lost in straight rounds to Lima Shawnee last night. Competing in the match were Will Anderson, Nick Taylor-Betts, Sutton Rowe, Miles Sandis, and Hayden Mikolocek. Also in action was the Mario Kart team, which swept Bellevue High School. Noah Boehm and Alex Martinez combined to win 6 of the 8 contested races. Dylan Pierce, Hayden Lewandowski, and Noah Hinton also contributed to the win. Great job, Titan Gamers.
SJJ varsity basketball will take on That School on Bancroft tomorrow night at 6 p.m. at Central Catholic in the second round of the OHSAA state tournament. Tickets are $5 for students and $8 for adults and can be purchased online at ohsaa.org/tickets. Support your classmates and head out to the biggest game of the season to cheer on the Titans.
Now to Studio C with Mr. Malone.
Good morning. Happy Friday. Happy Summit Day. Happy end of Summit Week. Happy early release. And go Titans on tomorrow at 6. Hopefully everybody will be there. I'm here just to kind of provide a reminder to you guys. You've been wonderful for the most part all year. Last Monday we got a little squirrely with our speaker, so I wanted to just remind you guys of decorum, what the word decorum means. Decorum is to act appropriately in good manners. These people come here, it's scary to get in front of a group of 700 boys. We don't bring them in here to waste your time. We hope that you learn a little bit, agree or disagree, have great debates. But one thing that I want you guys to remember is that we need to be respectful of all of our hosts, or be great hosts, I should say, to all of our visitors who are giving us their time and effort and talent. So if we could today, during our speaker in about an hour here, if we could remember that we're Titans, that we have good decorum, that we listen. And I want to kind of finish with something that's important to me as a student here or a past student alum from St. John's. Is these summit weeks, these things, I had a great education here and I had great friends, but these were the things that really kind of made an impact on me later on down the road in my life. Okay? So let's have a great day. Let's have a great weekend. Go Titans tomorrow. Thank you to all of the speakers that will be educating all of our young men today, and have a wonderful Friday, guys. Thank you.
Now to Studio B with Spirit Squad.
Let's go! All right, boys. Happy Friday. It's the last day of the summit, so turn up for that. But tomorrow, as Mr. Malone said, it's game day. Our boys are taking on That School on Bancroft at Central Catholic at 6 p.m. It's a Steez Out Part 2, so we got to run it back on them. You know what it is. All right, boys. Also, quick shout-out to Miss Williams, Mr. Levering, Mr. Dane, all the faculty and staff that have worked hard this week on Summit for Justice. We just want to thank you guys, and here's the Spirit video.
Across the table at an empty chair. Life's so lonely living without you. The whole day I just think
Hey, yo,
about
Donovan, heat that up.
The final day of the 4th Annual Summit for Justice. With over 20 guests in our building, we will examine our theme of environmental justice in more detail.
Before we hear from our keynote speaker and breakout speakers, we want to engage various aspects of our theme through media that spans the spectrum of topics associated with environmental justice.
In order to place ourselves in the right mindset, we will listen to music inspired by nature. In this video, Ludovico Einaudi, acclaimed Italian composer and pianist, performs a song written to call attention to the need to protect the Arctic. He performed this song floating on a platform in the middle of the ocean in front of the Wallenberg Green Glacier near Norway. Enjoy.
Like music, photography and film can also bring us to a deeper appreciation of the environment. The next video is called The Beauty of Pollination. This film uses high-end time-lapse cinematography to capture the magic of pollination. Later today, Jack Walsh, a junior at SJJ, will host a breakout session called From Bloom to Doom, addressing the pollination crisis. Enjoy the video.
While we prepare for the next segment, we'll be doing a trivia contest. When I finish reading the question, a phone number will flash on the screen. Everyone has the opportunity to call the number on the screen and guess at the answer to the trivia question. The first homeroom to call in and guess the right answer will win a prize. What is the term for the gradual increase in Earth's average temperature due to greenhouse gas emissions, an issue that has led to rising sea levels, more extreme weather, and is often linked to the burning of fossil fuels? First homeroom to call in with the right answer gets a prize. And I'll repeat. What is the term for the gradual increase in Earth's average temperature due to greenhouse gas emissions, an issue that has led to rising sea levels, more extreme weather, and is often linked to the burning of fossil fuels?
Oh, it's on the screen. Okay. Hello? Wait, can you say your name? Max who? Max Broski. What homeroom are you in? What homeroom? All right, wait. Oh my goodness.
Right there.
Okay, Susan Karcher. I'm getting a bunch of messages right now. Hello? Hello? I'm sorry, I'm going to have to hang up. I don't hear you. Another call. Oh my goodness. Someone's on Do Not Disturb. Okay.
Okay.
I'm getting a bunch of messages right now.
Hi guys.
If you're gonna message me, you have to say your name or something. But we're taking calls, so keep calling. Here we go. Oh my goodness. Hello? What's your name?
Justin Smith. We're at Miss Noise's homeroom.
Miss whose homeroom?
Miss Noise.
Okay. And what's your answer?
Global warming.
Global warming is correct. Global warming is correct. So Miss Miller's homeroom, congratulations. I'm sorry to everyone who is spamming my phone right now. I've got about 30 messages, but you guys were all right. Don't worry. It's global warming. We can't give a prize to everyone though. I'm still getting calls.
Right.
I think, is that the only question? Is that the only question? Okay. Oh, there's another one later, so be ready. Be ready for that one. But right now, we got to move on. I'm sorry, guys. Stop calling my phone, please. Okay. One way that we've seen the effects of climate change and environmental change is in wildfires around the world. Recently, California suffered a devastating wildfire that displaced tens of thousands of people. Last year, we felt the effects of wildfires from Canada in Toledo.
Apocalyptic scenes from wildfires on Vancouver Island on the west coast of Canada, sending toxic plumes of smoke billowing across the country. Fires like these are common in this part of the world as temperatures rise in the summer months. But it's the fires on Canada's east coast, which have arrived earlier and are more ferocious than usual, that have startled residents. The blaze in remote Barrington Lake was the largest in Nova Scotia's history, as a deadly combination of warm and dry conditions turned the forest into a tinderbox. Houses were torched, and communities unaccustomed to climate change-induced temperatures were suddenly forced to evacuate.
I usually break out in tears most of the time just talking about it.
Canadian cities like Ottawa have been blanketed in thick orange smog as hundreds of fires raging across Ontario and Quebec have sent noxious fumes south, not just to Canada, but America too. The normally razor-sharp, iconic skyline of New York City is now a smoky blur. Tourists are struggling to see landmarks, as the city's mayor warned air quality due to the wildfires was the worst in decades.
This is the highest level index of our knowledge since the 60s. Conditions are likely to continue to deteriorate. All New Yorkers should limit outdoor activity to the greatest extent possible.
Residents donned pandemic-era face masks. Flights and baseball games were cancelled, and a show on Broadway was even momentarily halted after an actress had difficulty breathing on stage.
I've never seen it like this. After 40 years of living here, this is bizarre.
Bizarre because this is the sun unable to break through on what should have been a sunny day in the city.
As we all know, the normal air quality index, safe, normal, is 50. Parts of our state have seen a level of over 400 in the last 24 hours, and that is a dangerous situation. You don't need to go out and run tonight. You don't need to go out and take a walk. You don't need to push the baby in the stroller. This is not a safe time to do that. I want to reiterate that.
The nation's capital, too, awash with smog. This is the monument, barely visible through the smoke, and the ordinarily white White House took on a pinkish hue. Canada has seen the worst ever start of its wildfire season, with more than 400 fires burning, nearly 250 of them out of control, across both the west and east coast of the country, sending a smoky haze billowing into the United States, causing hazardous levels of pollution in New York and Philadelphia, and stretching further south into Washington, D.C., the Carolinas, and the Midwest. These satellite images show how a low-pressure weather system is continually pulling the smoke from Canada all across America's east coast. Noxious fumes that hour by hour are blanketing some of America's most densely populated cities. And this, remember, is just the start of the fire season.
It's so easy to fixate on the way we are harming the environment or endangering species around the planet. But part of the summit is to look hopefully towards ways to counter issues of climate challenge and pollution. In the following video, PBS explores the efforts of the Ocean Cleanup, an environmental engineering organization that is attempting to use innovative technology to clean our planet.
It's an unforgettable experience to spend time with people who simply refuse to give up, building on ancient wisdom, to look beyond our modern moment to a future worth fighting for. These are the stories we need right now. It's so easy to see what's wrong, and even easier to lose hope altogether. But the creativity comes in finding new ways to do something about it. I'm in Rotterdam to meet Boyan Slat, who's doing this very thing, inventing a technology designed to give our oceans a second chance. Tell me how you got started.
I was 16 years old. I went scuba diving in Greece, and I was hoping to see all these beautiful things. Then I looked around me and I just saw a garbage dump. I just saw more plastic bags than fish. And I was so dismayed and shocked by that I asked myself a simple question: why can't we just clean this up? The Great Pacific Garbage Patch is the largest accumulation of trash in the world's oceans. It's an area halfway between Hawaii and California. It spans twice the size of Texas, and it contains about 250 million pounds of trash. Plastic is one of the largest threats our oceans face today. There's now 700 species known to be directly impacted by plastic pollution. A few hundred of those are actually threatened with extinction. The most uncertain factor, but perhaps even the most impactful factor, is the health impact to us humans. Plastic breaks down into smaller pieces. They transport toxic chemicals into the food chain, and that's a food chain that includes more than 3 billion people that rely on fish as their key source of protein.
Boyan and his team are working towards a goal to clean up 90% of floating plastic pollution. And here's the most powerful part. It took several attempts before they created something that even had a chance to achieve that. It was touch and go. People said the system he was inventing would never work, but then it did.
So the system itself is a long U-shaped floating barrier that we drag forth very slowly just to make sure that the fish can escape in time. It acts like a funnel. Plastic goes towards the center, where we have what we call the retention zone, which is a collection bag. Every few days, when it's full, we take the bag onto a ship, we empty it, we sort the waste, and then ultimately we bring it back to land for recycling. Actually, the oldest object we've ever collected and you can see how it's being degraded, so these flakes are coming off. Yeah, the thing is, because of UV light, because of the sun, plastic becomes more brittle. So then layer by layer, like an onion, it kind of peels.
So this eventually can end up in the fish that we eat.
Yeah, and this can turn into millions of pieces of microplastics.
Yeah.
No, so here what you see is it's actually the recycling process in steps. So actually half of what we get out of the Great Pacific Garbage Patch is fishing nets. So really looks just like this. I would say probably the most harmful type, because this, of course, ensnares a lot of wildlife. So what we then do is we wash it and we shred it. You get to this kind of pulp.
Yep.
And then ultimately we injection mold it, we compound it, so we add some additives to make sure that the material is safe and high quality. And then it becomes this. So these are what you call pellets. And these are the building blocks for any new object. So you can just mold this into something new. And the idea is that we are producing durable, sustainable products out of this. And with that, help fund the cleanup. Actually, as a proof of concept, we made these sort of high-end designer sunglasses.
Wow.
So this is 100% made from the plastic we took out of the Great Pacific Garbage Patch. They look good on you.
These are great. So if the garbage patch is cleaned up in 10 to 15 years, what's to prevent another one 20 years from now forming?
Realistically, the amount of plastic that's being produced is not going down. In fact, the projections are that by 2060, the amount of plastic produced will increase threefold. So really what we need to do is we need to decouple the plastic usage from the plastic flows into the ocean. We have interceptors now in 11 rivers, some of the most polluting rivers in the world, and we believe we can really stop most of the world's plastic emissions from leaking into the ocean.
What do you think when people say what you're doing is impossible?
Yeah, I think when somebody says something is impossible, I think the sheer absoluteness of that statement should make you suspicious of it. If you look at history, everything that we now take for granted used to be impossible at some point in time. So, if you're an entrepreneur, if you're trying to make something, if you're trying to create something, yes, I think it's very important to listen and to listen to people's advice. But if there's one bit of advice that you should really ignore, it's people who say that something can't be done.
The challenges facing Boyan and us all are daunting. Intertidal times are full of danger, but it's also where all the creative juice is. And for those of us who want to push the envelope on who we are and what's possible on this planet looking forward, this is our moment.
All right, time for another trivia question. Please, this time, don't call, don't spam call or anything. Just send a text message, but only send one, because I'm gonna look at like the first text message I get, and if you're spamming me, your message is gonna go to the top and you won't win.
And make sure you include your homeroom. Okay, here's the question.
And name.
What is the name of the layer in Earth's atmosphere that protects us from harmful UV radiation from the sun but has been damaged by chemicals like CFCs?
Mike Linko is not winning.
I'll repeat the question. What is the name of the layer in Earth's atmosphere that protects us from harmful UV radiation from the sun but has been damaged by chemicals like CFCs? Text in.
Oh my goodness.
Don't call.
I can't even click on this first guy. Oh my goodness. All right, wait. I'm sorry, guys. Oh, okay. Here we go. Room 117, ozone layer. Thank you, Crosby Brewer.
Oh, Mason Brewer's brother.
AKA Fizzy. Whoever's homeroom is 117, you guys won. Is that you? That's Mr. Dane. Oh, Miss Camargo. Okay, nice job.
Nice job, Fizzies, brother.
All right. Thank you to everyone who's still spamming me messages, though. I got a bunch. Sorry, guys. We can only have one winner today. But our next clip is from a special contributor to our summit, the aunt of Luca Camargo and sister-in-law of Senora Camargo. She lives in Brazil and serves as a liaison to an indigenous group in the Amazon rainforest. Please listen as she provides some insight into the environmental impacts associated with the people with whom she works.
How do the climate change impacts indigenous lives in Brazil? Well, my name is Isabella, and I work as a bridge and communicator for some people of the Yawanawa people in the Amazon forest. If we're talking about the Amazon forest, we're talking about a rainforest, right? If we're talking about rainforest, that is probably the cause that it's impacting their lives the most. The excessive heat and the differences of level of rain from season to season. Those indigenous community in the past, they used to go from place to place. They didn't live in just one village, in one place for the rest of their lives. So nowadays, with having to stay in just one place, they started to learn how to farm, how to grow food. And that is one of the impacts that they notice the most. When you have to grow your food, you need to understand temperature and the level of rain so you can count on that. If you have too low, then that will impact your harvesting. And also if there's too much rain, that will impact the soil and then you don't have the food that you need. If we're talking about food security, food safety, that means that growing your food is probably the healthiest way of surviving. And if you have to go and get supplies and get food in the cities, then you're exposed to a certain amount of industrialized food that may not be that beneficial to your health. And that is also impacting indigenous health as well, with the level of diabetes and high blood pressure impacting the villages in the Amazon forest. The Yawanawa people in the Amazon, they live by the side of Gregorio River. To move from place to place, they count on their boats. So they go from a village to another village. They go get supplies somewhere else, and if the level of the water is too low, that will impact their transportation. So this is actually a complex topic because it's not just about health and climate change, but it's also about our culture impacting their choices, and how do this contact and our culture is getting into the villages in a way that impacts their daily lives, their safety, their food safety, their health, and the maintenance of their culture. If we're talking about indigenous people in Brazil, we need to understand that there's more than 300 groups of indigenous people, and depending on where they live, because Brazil is really huge, they will be close to different types of impacts. Some indigenous people in the center, they're closer to mining, to soy plantations, to this type of deforestation, and the impact caused from their lives will be different from the Amazon forest, for example, which is not just a dense type of forest, but the contact, the invasion, it happened later in time. So some indigenous communities in Brazil, they saw, for example, their rivers getting such to a low level of water that the river is gone, and you won't see that again. That not only impacts a food, a lifestyle, but their belief system as well, because those elements of nature, they're really important to their cosmology, to their way of seeing life, to the way the ancestor told them what matters, the stories that are in the culture. So those elements of nature, it's not just about survival, the daily lives, but it's about the centuries of stories that they share, that it's not just there anymore. So just to simplify, when we talk about climate change and the impact on people's lives, on indigenous communities' lives, we need to understand that depending on the area that they live, they will go through different impacts. And the impact, it's not just material, but it's also about belief system and culture and their lifestyle and how they see life and how they were taught to respect and relate to nature.
This morning, we've seen different facets of nature, its inspiration to us, its beauty, its suffering, our hope to improve it, and its impact on human populations. Now we're going to a special Studio B to talk about the intersectionality of environmental justice and Black History Month.
Today marks an intersection. We are commemorating the final days of Black History Month and the last day of our Summit for Justice. As such, we are delighted to welcome our keynote speaker, Alicia Smith, who will be highlighting the intersectionality on a local scale as we are all invited to remember. Care for our common home begins with care for our community and care for one another.
Good morning, St. John's. Hope you enjoyed the content prepared by our Summit for Justice Core team this morning. Momentarily, we are going to start calling you down to the chapel to hear our keynote speaker, and then from there, we will break out into our individual sessions. You should have received an email from me yesterday indicating which breakout sessions you were assigned to. So right now, and then there'll be additional time after the keynote speaker. If you have a conflict of some sort, a duplicate item, you have no lunch period, if there's anything like that, feel free to come down to the Madras Society office right now, and we can straighten that out. This is not the time to replace something for something else. That's not going to be happening. So please feel free to come down. In the moments before we head down to the chapel for our keynote speaker, we invite you to have conversation in your homerooms if you wish. Discuss what we've learned so far this week, what we're excited about for today, aspects of environmental justice that maybe challenge you or inspire you. But momentarily, we will be calling you down. So enjoy the day. We hope the Summit Week has been fulfilling and exciting and informational for you. But please enjoy. Have a great day, St. John's.
Oh, we just want to thank everyone for a great summit. This is the 4th annual one. I feel like it just keeps getting better and better every year. So thank you for that. Thank you to anyone who donated clothes. Even if you thought about it but forgot, thank you. And yeah, hope you guys got something good out of it. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, St. John's. Have fun today.
Check your email.